I like to watch movies and just pretty like chill.
When I was young, like you said, I used to like to braid. So now I do hair.
My name is Ajane.
My name is Mercedes and I'm 19 years old. I got in the car with him and we kind of sat there and talked for like 10 minutes, you know, like a little small talk. And so I'm like, whatever, you know. And so then I finally pull the condom out and then he's like, well, my regular doesn't really use condoms, you know. Maybe I was thinking we could not. I'm like, oh, sorry. Okay, well, bye. You know, he's like, can I have my money back? And I'm like, no. Because we just sat here, you paid me to talk to you, basically. So when I got ready to open my door, he locked it, and he just took off. We just floored. You know, like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm gonna take you where I wanna take you. I'm gonna do what I wanna do to you, since you didn't wanna listen to me. He kept hitting lights, red lights, running them, going super fast, left, right, left, right. So I finally unlocked my door, I open it, and I'm like, cause I wanted to jump out, but he was going too fast. I'm like, I'm probably gonna like go under the tire. So then when this first U-turn came around, I see now, like, the next U-turn is my chance. Because I'm just, what's going through my head is like, either you're going to stay in the car and find out what he's going to do to you, or you're going to get out while you can. So I jumped out. I landed on my elbow and my arm snapped into two pieces. And I like flipped out, so I got up, I ran across the street to this little gas station or whatever, and this girl picked me up, and I was like, I'll give you gas. She's like, are you okay? She like just dropped me off at the hospital.
The way I got into the game, I think I was 15, no, I was like 16, 15. I was in the foster system because my mom was on drugs, and I ran away from my group home because I was like, fuck these people, I don't have to listen to them. Like, they're punishing me for what my mom did. There were some guys around, I liked them, and we did things. And some way, somehow, he convinced me, like, we were just talking and he made it sound really, really good. He was just like, you know, we got a nice pad, like, it's lavish living, you have whatever you want, like, you just have to give me the money and I'll get whatever you need, like, you will have no worries, basically. So I was like, what the fuck? I told my cousin, like, go with me. She went with me, we went to San Marcos, and that's how it started. Back then I thought a pimp was there to protect you, look out for you, be your companion. Like, it's basically your man, and you guys are working to build something. What I realized it is just a guy who really don't give a fuck about what happens to you. He's there for the money, and I mean, bitches come and go.
If you forcing somebody to do something, whatever it may be, that's wrong, man. Taking advantage of somebody in a situation, that's wrong. But if you helping somebody economically to uplift themselves, and you know they can be a better person, can help their family, help themselves, I'm all for it. You do the math. If a broad is dating $500 date and have 7 dates, what's 7 times 5? What's 7 times 5? It's 35. So that's $3,500 a day. You know what I'm saying? ER. That's my name, ER. I'm 51 years old. Well, to be a pimp, man, it's like, you gotta be a hell of a dude, man, because most dudes can't even deal with one broad, let alone deal with a dozen of them. But it's a thing of truth, it's honesty, you know what I mean? It's like what they say, what's the difference between a player and a bachelor? The difference between a player and a bachelor gonna be truthful. He gonna let you, I'm a bachelor, and yeah, you know, we gonna fuck, we gonna have some fun or whatever. A player gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? But a pimp, he gonna be straight up honest. Not only am I your man, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm your best friend, I'm your father, you know what I'm saying? I'm your teacher, I'm your everything, you know? And if you listen to me and you do what I tell you to do, you know what I'm saying? Trust me, the sky's the limit. Trust me, the sky's the limit. It's no different when a girl was a little girl and her mother said, yeah, be with somebody who got something. Be with some, she was telling her daughter then to sell some pussy, or don't give it away for free, which is one and the same. Mess with somebody that can do something for you. Mess with somebody that can help you. You understand what I'm saying? In a pimp and hoe relationship, it's on some man and woman stuff. It's on some, you my woman, I'm your man. But only difference with that is that with the pimp and hoe relationship, it's like, I want you to sell it. You can't stop the game. You can't stop women from hoeing, because they gonna hoe. You can call it human trafficking, call it what you want to. But the game is real, and these women out here that's prostitute ain't hoeing because they want to. Nobody done forced them into that situation. And they probably making more money than they daddy, because they daddy can't afford the Gucci shoes they want and stuff. You know what I mean? So they going out there and they getting it the best way they can. Trust and believe. The President of the United States is buying pussy. The whole U.S. Senate is buying pussy. The Congress is buying pussy. Your local police chief is buying pussy. Man, I can start a hostro on this street. What is this, K Street? I can put some fine little bras out there and some shorts and have them walk up and down K Street. Trust and believe. In the next 4 hours, every paisa and white boy and whatever, niggas too, gonna be coming up K Street trying to buy some pussy. I just think society is backwards, man. It's not community. You know what I'm saying? We don't live a place where we all work together for the betterment of each other. That's not where we live. That's not this. We live in a capitalist society. So capitalism is you have the best product, you know what I'm saying, and sell it for any price you want to sell it for, and the people gonna buy it. All I have to say, man, the game been good to me, man. You know, I thank God, you know what I'm saying, for my health. You know what I'm saying? I thank God for just being amongst good players, you know, real disciples to the game. You know what I'm saying? True to it, not new to it. You know what I mean? And I love it, man. I wake up every day, you know what I'm saying, and yawn, whatever, you know what I'm saying, and say, man, it's gonna be a great day. You know what I mean? I love it, man.
I was born in the game, you know, my mama was in it, my daddy was in it, my grandfather was in it. Growing up, looking at my father, he was a man that always smelled good, always dressed good, spoke real strong and smooth to females. And it was something that I took a liking to. While the kids was watching TV, wanting to be, you know, Superman, I was watching my daddy check traps and seeing hoes. And he was just, in my eyes, he was major. He was real major to me. My whole family, you know? That's what I seen growing up. And I didn't want to be Batman, Superman, Michael Jackson. You know, I wanted to be just like my daddy. When I first started pimping, I was 15 years old. Run into a broad, it was a crazy situation with the Make Sure Store. I put it in her ear, you talking about some money. She was already running around doing everything, was sleeping with everybody on the block. Let's get some money about it. She wanted me, you know what I mean? And I made it clear to her that the way to have me, this was the way to go with it. The dudes took to it like trying to be cool, trying to be like the next man, or you know what I mean, pursue something that's really not in them, to the females sitting there having hard times, missing something in their life and going after it. And here comes the internet. Here comes, you don't have to walk the street no more. You could just post an ad on the internet, sit down, wait for your phone to ring. And here goes all the story about all the money being involved in the game. Now everybody looking at this is a way to get money. And it's getting, it start getting easier and easier, you know, for anybody to take to it. So we have an economic problem as far as with the jobs and the money and everything that's going on. Everybody trying to get paid. The way that the world sees us as being pimps, they see us as manipulators, women controllers, slavers, the beast, you know, a monster, you know what I mean? Really, we're not the problem. We're not the main problem, and it has a lot to do with everybody. Everybody's doing their own part in the game. I was charged with 4 counts of pimping and pandering. It was a 4-year ongoing indictment. Started when I was 16. They kicked it off when I was 20 years old. They gave me 4 years, 4 years, 8 months with 85%. Out of that, I did 4 years. Jail actually matured me, and I stepped back from all of that. All I wanted to do when I get out was do my music, be there for my kids, you know? I have 4 kids. What I love about being a dad is I try to, those footsteps that my dad didn't carry and fulfill when I was a child, like fulfilling them and having my son look at me like, man, I love my daddy, you know? Being with my kids, like my dad didn't take, I never been to Disneyland or to an arcade or anything like that with my dad, you know? Only place I've been to my dad is a barbershop or a hostro or to the mall shopping. I never did any type of kid fun activity. I want them to be, like I'm trying to be better than my dad, I want them to be better than me, you know? It was a choice I made, wasn't the best choice in life. At the same time though, saying that, I say that to say this, the person that I turned out to be today, from everything I went through, from being in the game to living it up in the game to going to prison. Am I happy with the person I am today? I'm 100% happy. Man, anybody get around me, love me, you know what I mean? I have morals, I have dreams, I have hopes. I am a father, you know, and not to look at me from, I don't like people to look at me from what they heard, to really, you know, get around me, get in front of me, see the person that I truly am, and which it is, no matter which my beliefs or however my way of living, you feel what I'm saying? At heart, I'm a good person.
We've got a lot of different kind of things that we do. Do a lot of community stuff and work with a lot of students. Work with a lot of homeless teens. There's about 5,000 homeless teens that live in this zip code in the Balboa Park, Morley Field area. My name is Brent Hayden, and I'm 43 years old. Prostitution scenario for me here has been somewhat of an eye-opener. I've been here for almost 20 years, but it wasn't really until I started working at this church, specifically between El Cajon Boulevard and University, right off 30th Street. It's really easily accessible. Everybody can come here. There's some people in this neighborhood that didn't even know that our church was a church. They just knew the parking lot was the place that you would pick up if you were looking for sex. There's days that I've come to work and in 1 week I had 2 or 3 people soliciting me for sex, thinking that I was parking in the parking lot looking for sex. We've watched pimps chase girls down streets. I've seen fights. I've intersected fights on accident. I've actually stopped 2 pimps from beating their girls in the alley of my church. One Sunday morning while I was in church. I told the girl, if you want, you can come on in my side of my church and get some safety, whatever. But and at some point she's kind of caught up. She's kind of he's got some pressure points over her. She can't just leave. She's afraid for her life. Obviously she's running away from him. They got in some sort of fight, quarrel. The guy calmed down a little bit. I was kind of getting geared up to get hit, and I just said, dude, if you were a man like me and saw that happening in your neighborhood, I hope you would man up enough to protect a woman. And he calmed down for a little bit and whatever, but she got in the car with him and they drove away and he started beating her while he's driving out of my parking lot, and I was like, man, it just feels like you're swimming upstream sometimes. The pimps are just as broke as the girls. Somehow that guy got broken enough to think that that's what a man does, and so he needs some help too, obviously. You can't get to a place to demean humanity that way unless something's kind of broken inside you. At the end of the night, you got to stay up at night and this has got to bother you, or you have to sear the conscience, the part of your conscience that actually humanizes this. You have to dehumanize it so that actually you get through the night. It's not something that's it's not an easily winnable situation. You've got deep-rooted sociological, psychological, financial, all those strings are deeply attached, The girls are part of the problem. The guys putting the girls out are part of the problem. But the general public that's utilizing those services, that's part of the problem. I mean, we have 400,000 young people in San Diego, military, college students. I see who's picking up who. I see rich businessmen driving up in nice cars, talking to people on the streets. I mean, the problems are widespread. Everybody's got an issue. Different people are looking for different things. The girls might be looking to make a buck and they get caught up. The guys that are putting the girls out, they're looking at controlling things, making a lot of bucks. The people that are driving by, they're looking to spend a buck. But it's money. And it's sad, and it's just sad because it's really human. It's not just money. Knowing what's happening on the trafficking issue is important, and I think it's more than just a media storm. I think it just needs to be the reality that these things are happening all the time. We're supposed to care, but as far as what we can do, how we can do it, that every community is going to figure out what they need to do. I think education's a big piece. People have miserable lives. They're looking for a way to exist, and so try to give people self-worth and realize that there's, that they can make positive choices, but you just have to be willing to deal with it as it comes. And I think every community is going to have to figure out what their level of involvement is going to be. And I just wish that all of our level of involvement was a little bit higher and that we were willing to give up a little bit more than we are. And when this is no longer, like I said, a hot topic, just know that there's still people that are struggling.
Human trafficking, as measured by the income that it's generating right now for organized crime in particular, is now the second most lucrative enterprise for organized crime, next to drugs, third now being guns. We're talking about an industry, we're talking about a large-scale problem, we're talking about significant income. So I'm Jamie Gates. I direct the Center for Justice and Reconciliation at Point Loma Nazarene University. In some ways, the form of dominant global economy that we have now, let's call it hyper-consumer capitalism, right, has exacerbated the gap between the haves and the have-nots to such a degree that slavery is not only possible but likely. Once you start looking into the complexity of the global economy, of what we're calling globalization, we have to confess our complicity in all of this. Where these things are happening, why they're happening, what policies are in place that make this happen, what policies, what economic systems are in place that make this that make slavery likely or possible. Is it something we can morally support, or is it something we should morally resist? We all have a role to play in this. We all have a certain level of guilt that we have to confess along the way. An important lesson that a pastor friend of mine taught me, and that is as we engage human trafficking, I think ultimately the collapse of the whole system of slavery is dependent on the restoration of the very people who benefit most from the exploitation, the traffickers themselves. If we don't keep the salvation, the restoration of the traffickers themselves at the heart and the possibility, hold out the possibility for their restoration, I doubt we'll see human slavery go away anytime soon.